This is going to feel taboo for ballet. Watch out. Countercultural for sure. Hey dancers, it's Kirsten. Welcome back to the Confident Dancer YouTube channel, where we talk about a bunch of mindset related lessons on how to dance your best and feel your best. Y'all know, that's my bag. I'm the mindset lady. That's what I love to talk about. A question that I've gotten many times over the years that I've had this YouTube channel and my Instagram page is, Kirsten, can you make a video on how to build motivation? How do you stay motivated in hard times? So I put together 7 of what I think are the most important principles to building motivation, and I'm going to share them with you today. So get ready for this free little masterclass on motivation. This is packed full of value. I promise if you put even some of these into action, you will get results. So enjoy. Tip number 1 is to take the path of least resistance. What? Wouldn't that make us lazy, Kirsten? Girl, you crazy? That's not allowed in ballet. We are hard work, we are hustle, we are into the grind. That's ballet culture, right? But let me break it down a little bit. Remove excess and unnecessary resistance from the improvement process. So often, since mindset is incredibly important, what you believe deeply affects your experience and your results. And so if we believe, which this is very deeply ingrained in ballet culture or just dance culture in general, is that we have to work hard in order to improve. We have to work hard to get what we want. There is truth to this. A lot of these phrases that we carry around are perpetuated because there is truth in it. However, watch out for half-truths that need to have an expiration date. They are very appropriate truths that are applicable to some areas of our lives, some contexts, some phases, not all phases, okay? So where I see dancers losing motivation is when they have the belief that since we have to work hard to get what we want, the thing that I want is going to be hard to get. How is this a problem? Because of how our psychology works. The subconscious mind is designed to lead you towards the path of least resistance. So if this is how our mind works anyway, might as well take off the cultural interpretation that everything has to be a grind and actually just start looking at what it is and how we work as humans. If we are designed to be drawn towards the path of least resistance, that doesn't mean give up on your dreams and achieve nothing and never work. It means be careful to examine, are you assuming that the path to getting what you want or improving or that next step in your dance journey, are you assuming that it will be a long and hard road to get there? Maybe there's some truth in that, but if that's what you're focused on, your brain is designed to be like, sister, get out of there. That's going to be too hard, because the brain is designed to be like, save your energy, don't bother. Notice the assumptions you have about this will be hard, this will take a long time. Okay, there might be truth to it, but if you are really focusing on it, you will resist it. You will assume that the path will be harder than it probably needs to be. So what I'm encouraging you to do in step 1 is to remove excess resistance from your improvement process or growth process, whatever it is, by asking yourself, what if getting to this next level could be simpler than I thought? What if it could be fun? What if it could be easy or easier than I thought? Chances are, just by entertaining that, your mind will open to new possibilities of, okay, maybe improvement doesn't have to look like 30 minutes of Pilates every single day if I'm starting at 0. Maybe I would be really excited to do a 10-minute set before each technique class because I'm there anyway. Oh, I can do that, totally doable. There's going to be more motivation and energy there because you just allowed yourself to have a quick win of like, what if it were easy? And you allow yourself to actually contemplate the path of least resistance that's actually going to feel doable and motivating to you. The thing is, with the mind, since it is designed to follow the path of least resistance, it's also designed to protect you from things that it feels is a waste of time and energy or too much of a threat, too much of a risk, okay? So if you're assuming, wow, I'm gonna have to dump so much energy into this, it's gonna be so hard, the mind is going to feel a lot less motivated to go towards the action you're thinking of, because it's like, alert, alert, that sounds like a risk. That sounds like a waste of energy. Number two, instead of having goals that are based off of shoulds, instead of doing what you feel obligated or pressured to do, ask yourself, what do I really want? I bring this up because I see a lot of dancers experiencing a loss of motivation because they, got more serious about ballet. And because they're serious now, then all of a sudden you're entertaining all these other voices of teachers who are like, in order to be a professional, you should be this, or you should do that, or you should fix this about yourself. But what is should? It's a word of obligation. When you think of completing an obligation, what kind of energy does that bring up for you? Resistance. Ugh, I don't want to do that. Do I have to? It almost has a mentality of no choice or pressure, okay? Versus motivation tends to come from real positive desire, at least the sustainable kind of motivation. There is absolutely fear-based motivation, which does provide short-term bursts of powerful energy. Again, in the short term, this is not sustainable if you are always coming from fear-based motivation. In other words, pushing away from a consequence you want to avoid instead of going towards a result you want, you will likely burn out. Are some of the goals you set out for yourself things that you just think you should do? Well, if so, you're probably not going to be super motivated to do that. So instead, what if you ask yourself, how do I want to improve my dancing? What do I want to experience? How do I want to grow? And here's a great way that you can start to get insight on what you're actually going to be motivated to do. I got this prompt from Marie Forleo. She has a great YouTube channel and also a really good book. I highly recommend it. It's called Everything is Figure Outable. Very motivating read. If I remember, I will link it down below. If I don't remember, please remind me. She says, wouldn't it be cool if? And that's a prompt. So you say, wouldn't it be cool if, and just let your mind go wild. Wouldn't it be cool if I were able to do triple fuetes? Wouldn't it be cool if adagio were actually something I enjoyed? Wouldn't it be cool if I really engaged in class with a sense of play instead of pressure? Let your mind go. Have a heyday, really enjoy ideating all these things. And then, especially I recommend writing this out. Then you can read through it and circle the one or two things that you actually want to start taking action towards now. And again, use point number one. Ask yourself, what if it were simple to get there? How would I approach it? So take that path of least resistance. Already with these two steps, you're going to be feeling a lot more motivated. Point number three is to not rely on willpower. So often we make things harder on ourselves than it really needs to be. I've listened to different psychologists, behavioral scientists, people like that. And a lot of times what I've been hearing from them in podcasts and YouTube videos and books is that the people who tend to be successful in the long term or who have taken action that a lot of people are amazed by, like maybe, running a marathon. One factor to their success that can be very surprising, and this is just what I've heard, so go check it out for yourself, is that we think these people are relying on sheer willpower. But they're not. Why? Because willpower is a state of resistance. You are actively resisting another urge that you have. Instead, they are relying on systems, motivation of, for example, running with a group. They are building habits into their lives that actually don't take more effort. They're layering habits. So like, for example, if you want to increase your flexibility as a dancer, are you telling yourself, I'll stretch at night before bed, but it's not actually happening? Well, maybe it's because when it's time for bed, you just want to go to bed. And so instead, if you just stay for an extra 5 minutes after class or 10 minutes to do just a few specific stretches, you're a lot more likely to do it because you're already warm, you're already in the studio, and it can become a consistent, no-brainer for you. So rely, instead of on willpower, on systems, making things easier on yourself, and doing group classes, for example, maybe with Pilates or whatever, if that's accessible to you. For me, it's cardio. I used to really not like cardio at all, and so I resisted it my whole life because cardio to me was running on a treadmill, and I was like, no, thank you. But when I finally signed up for a cardio dance class, I became so obsessed with it. I do it 3 times a week. I do 3 hours of cardio because it's fun and because it's with a group and it's at a defined time, and that's very easy to just build into my life. So examine how you can rely on systems instead of willpower. Point number 5 is very simple. Surround yourself with examples of what you want to become. This is so important, and I'm not just talking about like watching videos of the best dancers in the world. I am talking about listening to podcasts of other dancers or YouTube videos of other dancers on a journey, and they're sharing the highs and the lows, but you admire them. Surround yourself not only with examples that you aspire to emulate, but also surround yourself with examples of people who have been through similar struggles and are working through it and, doing well, just like you want to work through it and do well. So that's really important to build evidence for your own mind that where you want to go is possible. Point number 6 is related to this. Make sure that you believe you can have what you say you want. Okay? This one needs to be said again and again and again, because what often comes up when I'm coaching dancers individually is they can have the dream on the conscious level of, I want to be a professional dancer. But then there might be all these belief systems going on inside of themselves, or identities of like, I'm never the favorite. I'm always the dancer who is behind. I'm a slow learner. There could be identities, beliefs, values, whatever, that are incongruent with the vision that they have for themselves. That creates self-sabotage. It creates unpleasant emotions and perspectives and all these things, actions that make it more difficult or even inhibit them from achieving the dream that they have for themselves. That's where the deeper layers of this mindset work is super, super important. You want to put all those layers of your mind in alignment with where you want to go. But for the purposes of this video, I'll make it really simple. You can just check with yourself and ask, do I believe that I can have what I say I want? Get really honest with yourself. If some part of you doesn't, you can work on that. You can work on it with me. You can also try to work on it with yourself. That's totally possible as well. But just work on making sure that whatever you say you want, you believe you can have it. Because honestly, without that belief, even, if it comes and goes, if you can at least hold on to it sometimes, or just say, I believe this is possible. If for someone else, why not me? Like, really make sure that you believe, because if you don't, the chance that you will give up, that you will self-sabotage, that the journey will be either impossible or very difficult for you is likely, or you're just going to lose motivation. If you don't believe you can have what you're looking for or being asked to do, then since the mind, again, it's designed to follow the path of least resistance, it's designed to preserve you and save your energy, it's going to drain you of that motivation, because what's registering on the subconscious level is this effort is not worth it. It's not going anywhere. Okay, point number 6 at first might sound like it kind of contradicts other things that I said, but don't worry, I'm going to bring it back home so it all makes sense. Don't wait to feel great to start. Why do I say that? Because the unknown is naturally uncomfortable. Humans tend to be afraid of what they don't know. We tend to fear uncertainty. First, I like to always remind everyone that if there's something you want but you don't yet have, then that's naturally going to be outside of your comfort zone. Or I heard on a podcast today, I really liked reframing the comfort zone to the zone of familiarity. The comfort zone is not always comfortable, am I right? But since we are so familiar with what's in this comfort zone, we choose to stay. So naturally, if you have a big goal that you want to feel motivated towards, I see some people waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel comfortable to start. Chances are you will not feel ready. You will not feel comfortable. You will not have certainty around whether or not you're going to achieve it or what the time frame will be. But learning to enjoy the mystery, learning to enjoy the leap, by telling yourself, I am giving myself the opportunity to feel great by surprising myself. You can't surprise yourself if you're not doing something new. And we all know, I hope that we all know how thrilling it is to be like, I didn't know I could do that. That reward of that feeling is only going to be on the other side of doing something new, which might feel uncomfortable, okay? So if you notice the resistance for you is coming from like I don't feel ready yet, or I don't feel comfortable. I notice a lot of dancers doing that. Good, you're going to feel more proud of yourself if you do it, even if you're uncomfortable, okay? So notice this is a little different than point one, which is remove excess resistance. That's really, that first point is coming from a place of like, is your mentality of like, this is going to be so hard, making it harder on you? Whereas this point, point six, is about checking in with how your feelings might be motivating your behavior. If you're feeling uncomfortable, nervous, not ready in some way, then this might be your sign to do it anyway, because you'll probably only get the emotional payoff and the feeling of familiarity and comfort once you get started, not before you get started. Finally, point number 7 is one that I got from Andrew Huberman. He has the Huberman Lab podcast. He's a researcher and a professor at Stanford University, and he talks a lot about biology and neuroscience and how we can basically use our understanding of the brain to implement better and healthier habits and just be more effective people. Basically, one thing that he talks about with motivation is part of what builds sustainable motivation is shifting from trying to only gain motivation to receive a reward. Like we're working for the reward and that's all we're thinking about. Okay, I'm just doing this to get that reward. Or I'm just doing this workout so I can eat the ice cream, whatever it is. Or I'm just working so hard so I can get the contract. Typically, people who rely on the reward for motivation lose motivation, lack follow through, and then the reward itself doesn't even satisfy them for very long. So instead, his suggestion is people who experience sustainable motivation tend to associate pleasure with the activity itself, the process itself, instead of just the reward. So this can look like asking yourself, what can I enjoy about just dancing, period, on my way to improving? What can I enjoy about the improvement process? Find the satisfaction in that, and you will train your brain to want more of it. When we want more of the process, we're going to do more of the process. We're going to get more of the results. Versus if you only have results-based thinking and motivation, you will feel like you're suffering to the point where you finally get the reward. If you actually make it to that point before losing motivation, then you get the reward and it's like, yay! Then you gotta go through the whole cycle all over again. So learn to find enjoyment in the process itself, and that will build motivation to be consistent. Okay, dancers, this was a big video, jam-packed full of value, so I really, really hope that you put this into practice, and I'd love to hear how it benefits you and what you think of the video down below. Let me know which of these points you're really excited to put into practice. I'd love to know. So give this video a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe so you don't miss next week's video, and I'll see you then. All right, bye.